Do you have something inspiring to say? Have you always known that your voice can contribute to the world? Is now the time? Yes, now is the time. The world is waiting for you. Welcome to the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. Today, we have an inspiring guest who is ready to share their voice with the world. Now, on to the show.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Open Mic Spotlight Show. We have another wonderful guest that we're bringing to you that we would love for you to join in the chat room or call in with your questions. We are going to be talking all about relationships today, and the show today is keys from an ordinary relationship to an extraordinary relationship, and our guest is Charmaine Adam. Now, Charmaine is a love, intimacy, and sacred sexuality coach, and she is going to be sharing all things about the keys to an extraordinary relationship and what practices we can utilize and what kind of support there is to building an extraordinary relationship. And she also has some special gifts that she's going to be sharing, so we don't want to miss that. So before I bring Charmaine on, I want to tell you a little bit about her. With 9 years of experience as a teacher, educator, facilitator of Tantra, conscious relating, sacred sexuality, and intuitive coaching, she has had the privilege in helping thousands of men and women and couples worldwide. Recently, Charmaine has spoken at She Talks, the Sacred Sexuality Summit, and presented at the Conscious Relating, Parenting, and Uncoupling Summit webinar. Through education, intuitive insight, and tantric practices, Charmaine has assisted many to let go of limiting mindsets, beliefs, and emotions that block an individual from experiencing a more empowered lifestyle and healthy relationships. Charmaine has been on the transformational personal development and spiritual journey for over 16 years, which has gifted her studies and certification in a mix of diverse holistic therapies. Charmaine is an advocate for creating extraordinary relationships and for creating your sexuality, conscious relating, spiritual evolution, adapting healthy sexual attitudes, and evolving sexual emotional intelligence while opening up to more body love, pleasure, and acceptance. And she loves to connect with people and individuals to see how she can work together with you for you to grow and evolve. Welcome, Charmaine, to the show. I'm so pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. It really is an honor and a privilege to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, here on the Open Mic, it's all about you, Charmaine, and we are looking forward to learning lots and lots more about you. So the first question that's popping in my mind is, what started you on this path to this maybe not ordinary subject, because it's not something that a lot of people are even comfortable talking about it in the privacy, let alone the public?
Well, thank you for asking. Honestly, what really set momentum in place for me was the birth of my son. Through my pregnancy, I began to have what is known as a spiritual awakening. However, back then I had no idea what a spiritual awakening was. I just noticed that my intuitive gifts became online. I started having visions. At the time I really thought, I was losing my mind because I had no resources or communities to turn to. And back then we didn't have Facebook, but if you remember, there were forums called Tribe and MySpace. Mm-hmm. And through Tribe and MySpace, I began to connect with other individuals, worldwide, and sharing my experiences of what was happening. And that was when I first heard the concept of an awakening or a spiritual awakening. So when I became more aware of what a spiritual awakening was, that led me then to beginning to understand, how to work with my intuitive gifts. To learn how to understand what consciousness was and that I was a conscious being, and what does that actually mean? What does that look like? Mm-hmm. How do I, integrate that into a practical, lifestyle? And, through the journey and the birth of my son, it led me to going to many, many different, workshops around intuition, sacred sexuality and tantra. And, the path for me has really been about refining and gaining more clarity in my intuitive gifts and being able to bring those intuitive gifts to the world so that I can be of service.
Right. So what was the reaction of people around you as you started down this path? Were they agreeing that they were having the same issues, or were they shy in kind of bringing it forward?
Honestly, they were really shy, and most of the time I was called crazy. So when I'd be at home meditating, or when I was beginning to eat organic food, I had a lot of people saying, Charmaine, you're going crazy, what's wrong with you? And, it was very challenging for me because it really was a whole change in my lifestyle, a whole change in my attitude, my beliefs, my understanding of what life is and what life is meant to be. And, the one thing that kept me going was just trusting and knowing that, that by just being me and doing, the things that were making me most happy and most connected and feeling the most loved, that eventually, my friends and family would come around. And eventually they did. I mean, it took my mum about 7 years, but now she, she refers me to all her friends. Charmaine, my intuitive daughter, she does this and does crystal healings. And, it's really lovely by just making that commitment to be the best version of myself. It opened up space for people to come around.
That's wonderful. Yeah, as Carol says in the chat room, when you're called crazy, you're on the right path. And isn't that true?
I love that.
When we make it oftentimes, right? When we make other people uncomfortable, sometimes we're pointing the light at something that is asking to be spoken to in them. And what a wonderful thing you've done to bring your own awareness to yourself forward and to contribute to other people. So tell us, let's just get into this. What are the keys to an extraordinary relationship?
So, for me, what I found in my own relationship is, the first key really is commitment, vision, and values. So making a commitment to self, what is your commitment to self? So when my partner and I came together, the first commitment we made was not to each other, but to ourselves. And we made the commitment that we wanted to be the best version of ourselves. And by making that commitment to ourselves and ourselves foremost, it opened up space, and more importantly, it meant that both of us were beginning to communicate and interact with each other with a really strong, firm foundation of honor and respect and love and, clear communication. And the most important aspect of any relationship is having a vision, knowing what your vision looks like. Most of us don't have a vision. Most of us don't even think about the importance of having a vision or getting clear with our values. And our values are our belief systems. They're the core values that we were brought up with. So the first key really is about getting clear with what your common vision is, and then sharing that with your partner. What I've noticed in my work is that a lot of conventional relationships are breaking down or not working because their vision differs from their partners. And a lot of us have a lot of unrealistic expectations on each other and the relationship, and most of the time they're uncommunicated. Mm-hmm. So it's really important. Number one is what are you committed to with yourself? And what vision do you have for your extraordinary relationship? And getting clear with that and sharing that with your partner.
So do you find that that's easeful for people to share their vision with their partner?
Not always, no, because it takes a level of vulnerability, really allowing ourselves to be seen, to be heard, and the other element to it is a lot of us fear the rejection. We fear being judged. So in essence, it's when we're committed to being the best version of ourselves, and we're committed to loving ourselves unconditionally and choosing to create an extraordinary relationship, a really beautiful aspect to that is also giving ourselves full permission to be vulnerable and to feel the safety and the strength in our vulnerability.
Right. And most of us think that by being vulnerable, we're going to actually cut off or shut down the possibilities, when I know for myself, and I'm sure you've seen this in many people, that actually is the step into receiving more and creating more in your life.
Most definitely. My greatest strength is my ability to be vulnerable. And sometimes through vulnerability, it enables us to really uncover some of our own conditioning patterns around love and relationships. And those conditioning patterns are usually our unconscious fears and worries and concerns. And they can be, a great catalyst in being able to overcome, these challenges or these conditions or these belief systems, so that we can be more open to love. We can be more receptive to receiving and giving love and finding more self-acceptance.
Right. So what is the key for us to start to step into that self-acceptance so that we can create these amazing relationships? I
guess for me personally, it is a commitment to loving myself. Like, when you choose to commit to self-love and you begin to adapt practices that support and honor that, so much opens up. And the illusion of commitment is that a lot of people say to me, when I make a commitment, I feel restricted, I feel limited. But really, when we step into a commitment, it opens up freedom. It opens up more freedom, and more opportunities can come to us. So commitment is really important to developing an extraordinary relationship and getting clear with those commitments. Because when we're committed to that, or whether it be self-love or to have an extraordinary relationship, what tends to happen is there's more flow, there's more direction, there's more action in embodying, that which you're choosing to commit to.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So do you find that do you work with individuals, or do you work with just a couple? How does that work, Charmaine?
So with my work, I work with individuals and with couples. So with individuals, I'm working with their conscious, like I'm coaching the conscious mind. And as an intuitive coach, I'm actually intuitively working with the subconscious and the unconscious minds. And these are a lot of our belief systems, our memories, experiences, or even sometimes traumas that create imbalances or creates blocks to fulfilling or living life on purpose, or perhaps it's, being able to attract, a relationship that is honoring and supportive, and with couples, when I'm working with couples, I'm working in very similar principles, but with couples, I'm also assisting them to get really clear on their vision, have sound understandings around their values, and finding a bridging point between values and vision, particularly if they differ. And this is where the transformation really takes place, because when your subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds are fully in alignment and fully unified, you find more flow in your life, and you find that it is a lot easier to begin to take action and to begin to co-create, extraordinary relationships in the life that you're choosing to create for yourself and with your partner if you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, at that point, we're going to take our first break of the show. We are going to continue after this. We have a lot more questions. We have a lot more, I know, Charmaine, that you're wanting to share with all of the listeners. So you are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show with my guest, Charmaine Adam, and today we're talking about keys from an ordinary relationship to an extraordinary relationship. And when we get back, we'll dive deeper into all of this and much more. So stay tuned. We will be right back after this short commercial break.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask questions, call 815-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sticking around with us today. We have a wonderful guest, Charmaine Adam, who is a sacred sexuality and intuitive coach, and she is sharing with us everything it takes to become or to have and create an extraordinary relationship. So, where can we get in touch with you, Charmaine, to learn more about what you do and to possibly work with you? What's the best space for people to connect with you?
So if you're wanting to communicate with me for intuitive coaching and working through subconscious and unconscious blocks to relationships or any topical theme, my website is www.awakeninghumanpotential.com. And if you're more wanting to work with me with sacred sexuality or intimacy and love coaching, my website is www.sexuallyembodied.com.
Wonderful. Okay, and they're great websites. There's a lot of information there. I kind of started to get lost in it, Charmaine. there's so much to read. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I have to get back to work, but I will definitely be going back to those sites. So,
wonderful.
Let's get back into the question. So, why is it important? Because you talked a lot about this already, about having a vision. Why is it important to have a vision as opposed to just kind of, going with the flow and seeing what you can create?
Because when we have a vision, you and your partner get on the same page with one another. And yes, it's really lovely to kind of allow things to go and see what the two of you create together. And I certainly have implemented that in a lot of my other relationships. And those relationships to date never worked out for me. So because they didn't work out for me, I had to ask myself, what within me is co-creating or attracting relationships that don't work out. So that led me to a lot of self-discovery and, self-inquiry, and asking, the right questions to uncover that information. And what I found was that, not having a vision, not communicating that vision meant that my partner and I weren't aware that a lot of our visions and a lot of our values were different. And had I known from the beginning what my partner's vision was, as opposed to my vision, and if I knew what my partner's values were and my values were, it meant from an early stage I would have been more in a position to create the bridges in our relationship that would have withheld and had a long-lasting relationship. So you can enjoy, go with the ride and go with the beautiful, endorphins and, and the beautiful dopamine and oxytocin that opens up, in a new relationship. However, if you really are looking for a long-standing relationship, being really clear with your values and your vision from the very beginning can assist the both of you to create those bridges so that you start to get on the same page with one another. And where there's, resistance, or where you notice that your visions are so different, you can begin to look at, you can begin to also understand your partner more. You begin to understand, well, my partner is motivated most in life because his vision is, say, financial security, and my vision might be, having, a family. So when your partner is, working back late and, and taking those extra hours in the office, rather than thinking to yourself, oh, my partner doesn't want to spend time with me, because you understand where his values and visions lie, you're more likely to be thinking, wow, like my partner, like he's working extra hours because he wants to create more money for us, because security and owning a home is really important to him. And so it really helps your relating to begin to have a beautiful meeting point.
Okay, cool. That really does make sense. So that there's not a lot of false assumptions going on and worry and judgment and all of that crazy stuff that can lead you to unnecessary conflict.
Of course.
Which I'm sure none of us have had any of that in our lives. I like what Carol says in the chat room. She says it's like being really together versus just being in the same room together.
That's right. It creates more presence. When you and your partner have a vision and you're clear with your vision, and the other aspect is to see your partner's potential. So the two of you may have a vision, and the more you see your partner's potential, the less likely you are at blaming or shaming your partner when things go wrong. So, if your partner and you are both committed and you're cooperating to achieve the common vision, and you see your partner's potential, when your partner, falls short, there's a lot more compassion and understanding, as opposed to the blaming and the shaming and the pointing of fingers. So the other element of your vision is, yes, get clear with your vision, getting clear with your values, and even talking about, what kind of values what sort of values do you and your partner have? And part of getting clear with values is also about getting honest with each other's baggage. Like, this for me is one of the most breakthrough in having a long-lasting relationship, is being honest with yourself, with the baggage that you're bringing into the relationship, and getting really clear with the baggage that your partner brings into the relationship. And I know the word baggage kind of sounds a little daunting, but not all of us have grown up in loving, harmonious, family dynamics. A lot of us come from broken relationships or power struggles within our family unit. Some of us have had, witnessed our families go through a lot of financial hardship and stress, which meant that there wasn't a lot of, development and clear understandings and templates on how to relate and be present with each other. So when you get really clear with each other's baggage, what that opens up is a deeper awareness and understanding. So what I notice in a lot of relationships, let's say, you come from a family where maybe one of your parents cheated, and, so your parents split up and, weren't living together. This can bring up a lot of feelings of insecurity and anxiety, particularly when your partner is relating to the opposite sex. Now, if you have a clear understanding of that baggage, then you will be aware that what's being triggered is not how your partner is relating to the opposite sex in the present, but more so what's being triggered is past insecurities, the past experiences that you went through, through your childhood. And that also means that when these kinds of insecurities come up, your partner has that awareness and can be more more understanding and can assist you to kind of move through those insecurities as opposed to taking them on personally.
That's fabulous. Faith in the chat room says, I think there's a lot of power in seeing my partner at his highest potential. Not always easy, though. So I'm sure that that's true for many individuals.
What do you mean by, can you please rephrase? Sorry, I missed the question.
So she just said in the chat room that she says, I think there is a lot of power in seeing my partner at his highest potential. Not always easy, though. And Carol goes on and says, it's hardest for me to know his highest potential and watch him not reach for it.
So when we're looking for our partner's potential, we're also coming from a place of compassion rather than watching or waiting for them to fail. What I've noticed in my own relationship with my partner, the more I choose to see his potential, the more I choose to nurture all the great things about him, the less I am experiencing, the imbalances or the misunderstandings. And when there are misunderstandings, rather than me, pointing the finger and going, oh no, he's let me down again. Oh no, that's not his, that's not his potential. That's not the vision I had for him. I'm more supportive, and I ask my partner, what's going on for you right now? How can I best support you? So having open communication and supporting each other with positive affirmations or positive, and I'm not saying to be unrealistic, but the more we're supporting our partner with positive affirmations and getting curious about what's really going on or what's contributing or causing, our partner's inaction or, our partner's, or where we potentially felt, disappointed and let down, it begins to open up, the pathways for you and your partner to find, resolution and solution and get back on track with your vision. Right.
And do you find that once they've gotten on the same page with their vision, that it's easier for them to stay on that path, or are there still challenges along the way in continuing to grow the relationship?
There will always be challenges, and I guess having that vision and that template assists the two of you to navigate life. So when you're looking at your vision or your values, you look at different areas of your life, like children and how you want to parent, communicating how you want to parent, how many children you want to have, what kind of time frame the two of you, are wanting for this. Other areas of vision are, what kind of lifestyle do the both of you envision for yourself? Do you like taking adventures? Do you want to travel a lot? Social, what kind of social settings, what kind of communities are you building around you? Looking at finances, are your finances shared? Are your finances separate? How much time and energy do the both of you want to put into building wealth or owning your own home? Then looking at, for instance, personal development, spirituality. What kind of healthy mindsets the two of you want to adapt and create, and what does spirituality mean to you? And then intimacy as well. How important is love, sex, and intimacy in your relationship? And another great area to look at is, how do the two of you want to relate to each other? In my relationship, my partner and I are committed to communicating with each other from a place of honor and respect and love and compassion. So if I'm feeling angry or frustrated, because my commitment is to honor and love and heart-centered communication, rather than me, getting upset or feeling angry and then venting my frustrations and yelling or screaming, I'll actually take a minute or a moment and create space and contemplate what it is that I'm feeling really angry about, and work through my own anger so that when I come back to my communication with my partner, I'm communicating more from a space of looking for resolutions and solutions as opposed to just venting my anger or whatever other emotions are coming up for me in that particular moment.
Yeah, that's good advice in lots of situations where we are having frustration, for sure. So before we jaunt off to our next break, I would love for you to share what wonderful gift you and what wonderful surprise you have for all of the listeners on today's show, what you're willing to contribute to where they're at today.
Thank you for asking. I love working with individuals and really assisting them to break through the barriers and blocks to them having the relationships that they desire and living their life purposely and really in alignment with their vision. So I'm offering a free 30-minute intuitive consultation session where we can work on any theme that your heart desires. So if it's, relationships, finances, health and well-being, anything that your heart desires, that you feel stuck or blocked or, just feel that you can't move forward, then this 30-minute session is for you, and it's complimentary to all the listeners here on today's Inspired Choices Network.
Wow. That's awesome. You better get ready.
So
you might. How does it get any better than that? That's fabulous. Okay, we are going to go. Yeah, we're going to go to our second break of this show, and when we get back, we've got some more questions. We love the comments in the chat room. We would love to hear from you. You can call in 815-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada. And for everyone else, you're welcome to call in through Skype at Inspired Choices Network. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back with Charmaine Adam right after this short commercial break.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask questions, call 815-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show with myself, Christine McIver, and my wonderful guest, Charmaine Adam, who has been sharing some amazing things that I haven't really heard a lot about, but it absolutely can contribute to creating that extraordinary relationship that you and many, 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 many people around the world are desiring to have. So, Charmaine, we've been talking about the vision, and it really does make a lot of sense that having that vision not necessarily makes it easy breezy, but it does contribute when we get to the bumps for sure in relationships. Can you tell me what kind of support is there to build an extraordinary relationship?
It's a wonderful question, and one of the keys to having an extraordinary relationship is building a community, and having so surrounding yourself with a community that can support your growth and your relationship and the vision that you are both creating. So building resources that can assist you both to develop areas in your life, for me, I watched a lot of YouTube videos on extraordinary relationships. I watched YouTube videos on values and communication, how to communicate. Then there was all the workshops that I went to. I did so many workshops in sacred sexuality and tantra and conscious relating, and these all gave me, a bunch of resources that I could begin to, co-create my own template and redefine what a relationship looked like for me. So rather than looking at the relationship templates that I grew up with that were dishonoring and disharmonious, bless my beautiful parents, because I know they did the best job that they could with the information they had, and there was a lot of love. These resources assisted me to shift my mindset. It assisted me to also develop my own emotional intelligence. And also, bringing my partner along to some of these workshops, getting him to watch and getting him inspired with some of these, new idea concepts or mindsets or tools and techniques really helped develop a really strong, firm foundation in the relationship template that my partner and I were defining. The other element too is when I say this to couples all the time, is that be really open to also that if you do both get really stuck and you're feeling that your relating or your communication is just not moving forward, you're butting heads, be open to seeking out therapists or counselors or intuitive coaches that can also offer that support. The other element is also to look at couples, like what is a power couple? Who are the power couples of the world? Who can you look to that can inspire you and inspire your partner? And the other element to the vision is practice, bringing it into a practical level. So the more you practice, the more it becomes more integrated, the more it becomes embodied, and the easier the vision becomes.
So when people are coming to work, say for instance, when they're coming to work with you, Charmaine, is it do you have like a set number of sessions that someone or a couple would need to be working with you, or is it really very individualized?
A bit of both, depending on the topic or the theme or what it is that is bringing the clients to me. Some clients can have an amazing shift and experience in one session, and one session can certainly be enough. And I do choose to work from a space to give that one session that can really shift and change your life, not only on a conscious level, but also give you practical tools that you can begin to implement in your everyday life that can really support you and where it is that you're choosing to create. Some clients, they will have a package where they'll book in for 3 sessions, and that is where couples that have a lot of different issues, or an individual that has a lot of different various issues that want to work on, and so sometimes for them having a 3-session package is more ideal. And these are uniquely discussed between me and the individual.
Right. Cool. Awesome. So there are lots of choices available. So what practices can assist individuals and couples in building an extraordinary relationship?
One practice that my partner and I like to practice in our life is, we call it the communication stick practice. So this practice is active listening and assisting ourselves, or learning how to become more present with each other and with your partner by active listening. So with the communication stick, my partner and I, we have like a communication wand. You may have a stick. With ours, it's made of copper pipe. It's wrapped in beautiful leather with feathers, and it has crystals on each end. So for us, the crystals have a metaphysical purpose, and it aids in clear communication. So when we have that communication wand, if I'm the one holding the communication wand, my partner then becomes the active listener. So we tend to sit facing one another, and the person who holds the wand or the stick talks first. And the importance in this practice is to not interrupt or say anything when your partner is talking. So it is really just about listening and witnessing, because the more present you are, you begin to develop an intuitive or an emotional intelligence where you begin to have a deeper understanding of where your partner is coming from that is coming just from the words that they're saying. One of the guidelines for this practice, if you are the communicator, it's really important that you refrain from pointing the finger or blaming or shaming your partner. So you want to be focusing on the I. So an example would be, I felt hurt when I was shut down in our conversation earlier, instead of you shut me down earlier and it's your fault I'm hurt. So the practice here is deepening our level of presence and practicing how to communicate and express how we're feeling from the I. And the active listener, and in being able to really listen and hear what is really being shared with from our partner. Right. And once our partner is finished, we just simply say thank you for sharing. So we don't try to fix it. We don't offer any advice. We don't kind of justify why your partner is feeling the way they're feeling. You just simply say thank you for sharing, and then you swap over, and then your partner would then be able to share how they're feeling.
Well, that makes sense. I'm wondering how easeful that is when somebody, our relationships are emotionally charged. I mean, we choose relationships based on our emotions, and then they can be highly charged. What do you do when it's very difficult for people to stay in that very honoring space?
Remember that you love that person. I've had moments, it's like, if you just come back to that first thought, I love this person, and ask yourself, and just think to yourself, if I love this person, like how can we get back to love? Because everything that all the emotions that are charged, it's just love looking to find its way back to love. Okay. Does that make sense? So, when I'm, it's all, it's just love, returning back to love. And sometimes the way love returns back to love is through, charged emotions of sadness and angers, frustrations, disappointments, but, when I'm upset with my partner, the first thought that comes into mind is, I love this person. I really love this person. So if and then my next, sorry?
I was just going to say, for some of us, we may need to put that on a big piece of paper and have it near us.
And look, that could be a practice that you have for your extraordinary relationship, where you have that note or that beautiful affirmation, in the kitchen or in your bathroom or your bedroom, where it says, I love my partner.
I think
and that might bring you back to why you're here.
Yeah, I think that might be a really awesome mantra for some people. I love my partner. I love my partner. There have certainly been moments in my past where that would have been helpful, Charmaine. So I will keep that in mind.
I know, right?
Yeah. We've got some fun comments in this chat room. People are missing out if you're not there. So, Charmaine, what I would like to ask you now is, if a couple don't have the same values, is it truly possible that they can continue to, or they can even imagine creating an extraordinary relationship?
Most definitely. Again, my partner and I, we have different core values. So for my partner, his core value is family, and being South American, it's very cultural for him as well. So my partner is motivated most in life by creating a family. He wants he's more motivated by family-orientated activities, and this influences him in his life and his desires to create family security, like owning his own home, spending more time in family activities and cooking and having a family of his own. And for myself, my core values is spiritual fulfillment. So having spiritual fulfillment on my priority list, I'm looking at deepening my intuitive awareness and working through my unconscious barriers and blocks to being awesome and amazing, and having different core values, and both of us communicating those core values has really helped our relationship, because what's happened is that those different core values have begun to blend with one another. So when I first met my partner, cooking in the kitchen, these kinds of things weren't on my priority list. They were there, and I certainly did eat well, but I'm not a woman that loves to cook in the kitchen every night. Whereas my partner, this is important for him in his core values. He loves food, and food is very much a part of his core values, and the eating and the whole kind of experience. And because he knew my core values, when I wasn't in the kitchen cooking every night, he didn't get angry at me or get upset with me, but he was more encouraging, like, honey, why don't you, because my partner loves to cook, so he'd be like, honey, why don't you cook with me? Or, honey, well, while I'm doing this, can you, chop me the mushrooms for me? So little by little, just him encouraging me to enjoy, cooking, and another a part of, his core values is owning our own home, which for me, owning my own home is not important for me. I mean, I'm happy, renting, but rather than him be upset that I'm, not on the same page and focused with saving money for a house, he'd be like, oh, honey, can you imagine if we own our own home? We could do renovations, we could do this, we could do that. And it really started to inspire me more, and knowing that my partner's core values was more around family, when I wanted to meditate, or when I wanted him to practice, breathing, pranayamas or breathing exercises for mindfulness, when he wasn't super inspired, again, I didn't feel, I wasn't upset with him. I understood that his core values were a little bit different to mine. And as I said at the beginning, what's happened is our energies are blended, because, 19 months later, and, my partner now, listens to meditation music with me, in the evenings as a little thing to kind of wind down from an end of a busy day. I'm cooking twice a week, and more than twice, 3 times a week now, and I'm really loving it. It's amazing how much pleasure that that I can experience through cooking and creating a beautiful meal for my partner. And we've got a great savings plan now. Like, we're really in alignment, and I'm really excited about owning my own home and having the freedom to renovate. So having different core values can actually bring the two of you closer together, because you have an understanding that perhaps wasn't communicated prior. So so it really can. You don't have to have the same visions or values for the relationship to work.
That's awesome. I really like that. And it makes sense how you can be inviting the other person into your values with kindness and not,
Completely.
Not having that expectation that their values need to be yours. I think that's,
yeah.
I know that a lot of women, I've heard them say, well, he should know that. It's like, wait a second. If that's not important to him, why would that ever get on his radar, right? So,
that's right.
Okay. Wow. Okay, this show's going fast. We have just a few minutes left. We're going to go for our last quick break. And when we get back, we're going to wrap up with the wonderful guest today on the Open Mic Spotlight Show, Charmaine Adams. So stick around, everyone. We'll be right back.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spot today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message? The world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask questions, call 815-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have enjoyed such a great conversation with Charmaine Adam, all about relationships. So, Charmaine, we just have a few minutes left before we close off today. What are some of the last few minute thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I guess get inspired. Like what I've noticed in choosing to create a extraordinary relationship, I've noticed my relationship to my friends and to my family have also become more enriched. When you begin to make that commitment to co-creating an extraordinary relationship, although it at the time may appear to be focused on a love relationship, what I found is it actually opens up my relationships with life, and life becomes extraordinary. Life becomes more enriching, more fun, more luminous, and it really becomes a journey of what can I create next, and finding that joy and excitement, in the experience.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, you've got two great websites that they can do that, awakeninghumanpotential.com. We also have sexuallyembodied.com, and your email address, sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head. Can you give that to us again, Charmaine?
Sure. It's contact@sexuallyembodied.com.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And so when they connect with you, Charmaine, they're doing this, do you do the sessions over Skype? Do you do the sessions over the phone? How do you, or do you do it in person, or do you do all?
I do all three. So I really work with what is best for my clients. So I can do over the phone, we can do Skype to Skype, and we can also do in-person session if you are from Melbourne, Australia. So, yeah.
Well, I think that, we could just fly over to Melbourne and have a session. I think that would be fun.
It'd be so much fun. I would absolutely love it.
Yes, I think. Where are you going? Well, I have to go to Melbourne. I have a session. So, Charmaine, before we go, I do want to let people know about the summit where I actually met you, and
yes.
where you can still connect. So both Charmaine and myself were in a wonderful summit called Conscious Relationships, Uncoupling and Parenting Summit. And in that, you can actually, it's so cool the way it was set up, you can actually enjoy it for 7 days free. And then you can enjoy purchasing it for a very small amount. So we have the link in the replay as well that you can connect. So thank you so much, Charmaine, for connecting today with all of our listeners. I really appreciate everything you shared with us. And we hope to see everyone back here again next time, where we will feature another amazing guest. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Radio Show. We will be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, continue to create you with joy and inspiration.